the stats, the research we did say that 5% of artists make any money off a deal. But yet there's this like idea that signing a record deal means you've made it. Can you shed some light on the idea of like a 360 deal and why artists often get burned by that deal?
So here's how it works. Artist walks in. Now they've had to blow themselves up on TikTok first.
Right.
Before anybody's going to give a fuck. They have a song,
Right.
and the label will sign them to a 360 deal and say, hey, let us alley-oop you. Because you can have a hit on TikTok for 2 weeks and it's gone. It's very quick.
Very quick.
Hit songs are much shorter lived, but they're still very valuable if you can do it multiple times.
Yeah.
But the label is supposed to take that and keep you at 40,000 feet. In exchange, you then give them 87% of the master, but they do give you a cash advance. So
it's very similar to publishing because I just
It
signed a
is.
publishing deal and just did a podcast deal. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yes.
It's very similar.
It is.
Okay.
It's a licensing deal if you're lucky. You don't give them your name in perpetuity. You just license them your music for X amount of time. It might be 12 years. They're pretty long.
Yeah.
Man, our first record deal, I still have the contract. It's like 50 pages. Make sure you have a good lawyer to walk you through every paragraph.
Which, if you're an independent artist, who's paying for that? You're paying for that?
You're paying for that.
Or not an independent artist
they
because you're
will-
signing a deal, but like if you're just getting started.
With the KARMIN deal, we had a lawyer on retainer for 5%. So you can just give somebody. So let's say you get a record advance of like $100,000. You can give the lawyer $5,000 when that deal is done.
Right.
You give your manager 15 to 20. So now look what happens, Tori. You have $200,000, which is now down to 75,
And you're paying taxes on that money, and so the
tax-
money actually going in your pocket is a lot less.
You better go buy some of these microphones
Right.
and write them off. you
Right,
know?
right.
and don't eat up all the studio time, because the other part of the record deal, the 360 deal, label is paying for your recording sessions, which you could easily do $500,000 an hour. Now you have mic fees, engineer fees,
Right.
mixing fees, producer fees.
Right.
I'm so lucky and fortunate that my partner produces my music.
Yep.
Along with Pompano Puff. Shout out Pompano Puff. They're incredibly talented, and we figured out our situation. We're like, let's all do this independently and make a living from it.
Right.
But in a record deal situation, producers will just charge you, 5, 10, 20, 40, some larger producers, 40 grand a track. This becomes a recoupable tab at the label. So now you've opened a tab. And
Right. You're at the bar and you're buying shots.
And they're recouping you at, 87% off the top? So now the statistic I heard is that 2%, actually. 2% of
Oh, so
artists
it's even less than 5%. Yeah.
recoup to get to the next phase of the contract where they get an advance again. Does this make sense? So
Yeah.
you've got phase one, try to recoup. Eventually our lawyer was like, don't try to recoup. Spend their money. Get your
Right.
fame, get your accolades, and then...
Go to the American Music Awards, do that shit.
Right.
Well, and that's assuming, right, that most people are taking multiple. Well, and I want to talk to that point about with you releasing EPs at the pace you guys did, because
Right.
usually it's what you rate 2-3 years in
Yep.
between albums, and now you're like,
And the reason you're doing that because they have 50 artists, right?
right, who
And
need time.
Billie
who need-
Eilish is going to get priority
Right.
over your record. So
Right.
then your date keeps getting pushed back. You can't do anything promotional. You can't put anything out because they have an exclusive record deal with you. So you're like, so then you're on TikTok trying to blow your song up.
Right? Are you making money in that time? I guess you're out touring,
If you
hypothetically.
tour, and they do sometimes have ancillary, so they'll take 10, 20% of your touring as well, and merch. Merch
Yeah.
deals are kind of shitty. And so I stay downtown Los Angeles, right in the fashion district. So I can
Yeah.
go buy blanks. I can get them printed locally, which is what we do.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of schlepping. It's a lot of... Indie is not for everybody. I
Yeah.
always say that. Like, I'm in here doing my own hair and makeup because that would also go on the recoupable tab.
You're also very good at it. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of a ritual for me. I feel like it helps me center myself and be the character I need to be for the performance.
as a theater person, I get that. Right?
Totally.
It's like dress rehearsal is the first time you actually feel like the person you're embodying,
So valuable.
because you get on your shoes and you get on your wig, or you get on.
It's the shoes.
And it's the
Every
shoes.
time.
It's the shoes. So you've got the record deal, and then what you guys ended up doing was getting out of it.
Yeah, which was kind of a miracle. That's just why we...
I was gonna ask, so what is the process of getting out of it? And then do you retain any of your music when you do that, or any of the rights to any of your music when you do that?
They so ours was, I think, a 12. Let's just say these numbers are fake because I can't remember.
Sure, been a while.
But we're probably about time to go check in with them and see what's up. But 12 years.
Because if Hello is 2012,
totally, we're getting
right?
close.
That's 10 years.
Okay, everybody pray that we're recouped. Because the masters do revert.
They do, because that was my next question, because I don't think you bought your masters from Epic, did you?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we're going to let them make their money back. I really do appreciate L.A. Reid for believing in us so much. I mean, they really invested in us.
Yeah.
And I can't even be mad about that. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And we learned, it was like a master class.
Sure.
Those 5 years.
Sure. So getting out, what was that process?
Went to an astrologer, got a birthday gift visit. Okay.
I don't think many people get out of record deals and the first step was like, I needed to go have my chart read.
This had to have been a destiny thing.
Yeah.
I got so spiritual. Of course, moving to California will make you buy crystals
and
go to the ocean.
To woo-woo. I am. Like, I have an energy coach, which we can talk about if you want.
Stop.
But like, that was a big step for me and even still feels woo-woo. Like, I'll tell her things where I'm like, this is too woo-woo.
And the reason is because you're so brilliant. You're so smart.
Stop it.
That's what it is.
Thank you. For me, it's like, I started working with her to get myself out of my comfort zone, where I was like, okay, I know I'm very analytical, and I'm like, I need you to bring me into my body, because all I do is think and overthink again.
If I could just have 5 minutes in your brain, I feel like I could.
I don't. You would. It would be insane. You don't want 5 minutes in this fucking brain.
If you just ever want to DM me some ideas that you just want to get out, please,
girl,
I will use them.
18-year-old me is throwing up out of excitement right now. It's so fun. Okay, record deal. So you're in it. You went to the astrologer, and he said what to you?
And I am skeptical as fuck right now. I'm like, he sends an email confirming the time, and I'm hungover. It's like a birthday gift. I'm like hungover to the point where I know I'm going to throw up. Like, it's a bad hangover. I'm like, I was like 20, I forget, 26, 25. And he says, oh, don't forget to bring your birth time. I'm like, birth time?
I'm gonna call my mom.
Where am I gonna find this?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna call my mom hungover. And somehow I go in the office and I open this book and my birth certificate is in it. I'm like, nobody knows where their birth certificate is. Usually it's not like.
Wait, you have it?
It had just that day when I needed it, right before the astrology reading. Huh. It was in I was like, how did this even get here? Birth time. Boom. Got it. 2:10 p.m. April 29th, whatever. So I bring it. So I'm like, thank God, because he couldn't do an accurate reading without it.
Right.
And this dude, like, proceeds to read my life. Like, I'm crying. I end up going and throwing up in the bathroom because I'm hungover too. It was this emotional, like, purging.
Okay, so my skeptic immediately goes,
yes,
you're a famous person. You have a bunch of information available online.
My assumption as well.
Did somebody go Google you?
My assumption as well. It's things that he was saying to me are things that only I knew.
Okay.
And one of them was really strange. He said, your relationship with your mom is like you were her mom in a past life. And I was like, that's a strange thing to say and have it resonate.
Yeah. Because you're either like, this makes complete sense, or you're bullshitting. You're completely bullshitting.
It gets personal like that. And then he'll even tell you, he'll lay your chart on a map of Earth and tell you like the cities that are most energetically serving for you. That's why I asked you where you are based out of, and it's cool like to move around.
What were your cities? Now I'm curious.
It was Atlanta, Detroit. It was like East Coast vibes.
Okay,
so I'm still kind of trying to figure that out because I'm a California girl,
right? And
you have different lines that give you different energy. So Nebraska for me was definitely like old tradition.
Right.
I like moved past those lessons. LA is much more about money and fame, so that worked out. But I think ultimately I got to end up somewhere on the East Coast. We'll see. But he told us how to get out of the record deal. Can you believe this? He's like, oh, L.A. Reid, yeah, he's a Gemini. Okay, let me look at the dates. He's like, you need to call him by this date, and by July 1st, it'll be resolved. Oh, and your partner, Nick, has to do the talking. And I was like, oh, shit, because Ellie doesn't want to he never wants to talk to the man. He's like, no, my girl, you're my star. But he listened to the phone conversation, was reasonable, and by July 1st, we had an exit contract, like, overnighted to us. So crazy.